Hello, cult members. Welcome to the Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean,
I'm Janice.
and this is our
Spoilers.
spoilers. We're gonna screw up the camera. It's gonna go crazy. Our full spoiler review of Ready Player One. You can't see it here, but I have Holiday's Easter egg as a pin that they were giving away.
Yeah, he was very proud of that.
We got to go to a premiere last night. Thank you to the CW, CW6 here in the Phoenix area. And we got decent seats. We got right in VIP.
Yep.
Everything now. We are going to do VIP to everything because
3D IMAX, gigantic screen in 3D.
Yeah, we were.
I had a moment at the beginning. I was like, okay, I might hurl, and then I kind of got used to it. It was better, but
yeah, it was a little bit to take in for because the screen is like. It's like even if you sit in the back row,
15
you're like
stories
it's like
tall.
gigantic.
And the beginning, so this is spoilers.
Yeah.
This is the spoiler one. The beginning, you start off, boom. You're going. It's the race.
It's pretty much the race.
You're
yeah.
like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no dicking around. We are going to spoil this. One of the things I want to talk about first is before we get in, we're going to do a little much more of a free form kind of back and forth about the movie, but than what we normally do. I want to touch on this now. It's if you've seen the movie, you better have seen the movie if you're watching this. It's not the book, right? It was never going to be the book. That book is just too dense to do it the right way.
Right.
To do it the right way is not the to do it the way everybody would want it to get done.
Right. As we talked about it, like the only way that you could really do the book almost verbatim is a multiple movie deal, and there's just not going to be enough people, that I mean, it's The Hobbit struggled with a multiple movie thing,
Right.
So there's just not enough people that are going to be in for the long haul on this.
I mean, we would have gone to all three. I mean, that wouldn't have never been an issue for either one of us. But I really thought that getting the key and the gate and getting through the gate would be the end of each of the three movies,
right?
Or start the third movie with them getting through. Just have that be the going through getting the key and going through the gate and whatever. But this, they didn't have the gates. They just had the keys.
Right. You got the key and you automatically got the next clue. You didn't have to go through the challenge.
And they skipped, instead of making Wade Parsifal in high school, he's, I would say, probably early 20s. Ty Sheridan is the guy who played him. He's in his early 20s.
Yeah.
So that kind of same time period, age was appropriate. Instead of making him a teenager.
Yeah. Well, and, in the book, I mean, he's right at the end of school.
Right.
And ends up missing the last... But he was so smart that he had made the grades and he could coast.
Yeah.
So he never went for like the last 2 months or whatever.
Yeah, it was all about, the search for Holiday's egg.
Yeah, so
at that point in time.
mean, getting rid of that really didn't.
I'm going to apologize now. I have allergies are kicking my ass, so I'm going to try not to
Plants
cough.
are having sex.
All over the place, and it's kicking my ass. Yeah. So I'm trying not to cough in the mic, but I can't make any promises. But I liked how they didn't. It would have been really kind of a slow burn start of a movie to explain him why he's in the stacks, why he's in the school that he's in, and his search for the first key and the first gate on the school planet. And now they mentioned the school planet, and they mentioned his life in the stacks and stuff.
Yeah, it was kind of a voiceover, him like, running around the stacks or whatever, and this is how he got here.
And they did address his aunt was kind of a bitch, and her boyfriend was kind of an asshole and beat him up and stuff like that. And they showed him sleeping on the washer and dryer, so that kind of thing. That part was replaced with this race, and that this race was, everybody knew that if you won the race, then you would get to the key and stuff like that. And him figuring it out was a good transition. Like that's the opening act of the movie is that race on the
Yeah.
trailer.
And I like how they handled like him or all of them, but really it was Parsifal getting information. Like, so in the book, it's all about them studying, right? Studying.
Right. He's
his
got a
writings
Grail
and
journal is what he calls it in
yeah,
the book.
yeah, and the way they handled the movie was the kind of the library of
Halliday's
Halliday's head.
Yeah.
And it was video and stuff where they could go and Parsifal's really the only one that still goes and dissects all that stuff, which is how he ends up actually coming up with the answer.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was kind of a good I don't know, visual way to kind of understand where they're getting at.
Yeah, and it's you have to tell all the build up and stuff in a very short amount of time inside the movie, and so having that kind of that
and Halliday's life, right?
Yeah.
And like how this even happened and how he is who he is,
like
and
the setup of the worlds, both in the real world and the Oasis, and the setup of Holiday and Morrow, and how they all build up and everything,
and their relationship.
Oh, and their relationship. That's like 3-4 hours of the book.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's you're not going to do that in a movie. Just it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
But
not
they
have it be interesting.
No. I mean, we think it's interesting because it's world building, and I really like world building. But it was never gonna happen. I thought that everybody's performances, both in the real world and in as mocap avatars, was really well done.
Yeah.
It was very interesting to kind of we talked about on the way home that they did a really good job of doing these long tracking shots, both in the real world and in the Oasis, where they pulled back and you could see the physical movement of the actors in the real world, and then when they got into the Oasis, you could see them. I was paying attention to this, so it was really weird. But you could see them have the same walk and the same gestures and the same facial expressions, even though it was their avatars who were doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So that was really kind of cool to have that, like show that this is actually the actors and doing mocap and the CGI
and
is so cool.
And a lot of when they're in the Oasis, a lot of it's close up on their face.
Yeah.
Like they didn't shy away from the fact that these are avatars, and there's on purpose imperfections, but it was like everything was here on their faces all the time.
I really liked how they the CGI was one of the concerns that a lot of people had once you got into the Oasis, but they made it realistic enough, cartoony for lack of a better term, to make you understand that it's an avatar, but it looked really awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we, again, a gigantic screen in 3D.
Yeah.
It would have been very easy
to find all the holes.
Yeah, and the only time I had a problem was just when I would turn my head the wrong way, and it would kind of get blurry.
Yeah,
but that wasn't the movie. That was, a gigantic screen.
Yeah,
and you've got glasses on that you're trying to.
The other stuff that happens in they show the love affair between Parsifal and Artemis and how it builds up, and then her freaking out and saying you can't trust me, you don't know who I really am. However, the way they handled the real world interaction with the two of them when they first meet, I'm not going to say I had a problem with it because it makes sense in the story that they were telling, but it's way early it's halfway through the movie and not at the end like it was in the book. And that was one of those things where I was like, in my head when I'm watching it, I'm like, that's not how that goes, but it makes sense. And so I was having, there was a couple times during the movie where I was like, I know the book so well that I was like, that's not how that story goes. I have to pull myself back from that and say, how does it look now? How does it, does it make sense for the story here? And it did.
Yeah, I actually didn't have that problem at all. But again, I'm used to being in love with the book and going and watching the movie and having it be a big disappointment.
Big disappointment, right?
Yeah, I was like, I know this isn't going to be the same as long as the story is still good and makes sense and plays homage pays homage to, to the book, and I felt like it did that.
It totally pays homage to the book, and they did a really good job of taking all the major points of the book and
Yeah.
putting it in a 2.5-hour movie.
Yeah, and it may have been retold or mixed up or whatever,
Right.
but yeah, you get the gist.
Artemis is the one that gets indentured servitude instead of Parsifal, which puts her on the inside, which help them get the shield down
Right.
at Anorak's castle. That whole thing is set up by Parsifal in the book. It makes complete sense that she's the one that gets captured and is the one who has to do the indentured servitude because her backstory, at least, I don't remember this in the book. Maybe I'm trying. This is one of those like gray areas for the book for me, but her reasoning to find the egg is to help people in the book, and in the movie, her reason is to help people who are indentured to IOI because her family, or her mom and her dad, had gotten in debt and they died in indentured servitude to IOI, and so she was trying to win to take everybody out of that.
Yeah.
And Parzival's like, I'm buying a big ass mansion and I'm buying all this really cool shit. And Artemis is like, what the hell are you doing? And then he learns how that he needs to help everybody. And I like that at the end.
Yeah.
The big battle at the end, Anorak's castle. The book is it's 4 giant mech animes versus Mechagodzilla and like all this. There's like all these side missions and whatever that get all these extra characters, and that was never going to be the way the book was going to be. It was just too much licensing issues to get a bunch of the anime stuff. They do have a couple of the anime characters in it.
There's actually a ton, and that was one of the things that like a lot of people that we talked to after it was over were like, I want to go watch it. I can't wait for the DVD to come out so I can stop motion through that battle because, we were like, oh, there's the Halo guys and some Ninja Turtles and, Firefly and, but it's just all going. You just don't have time to.
Yeah, it was, and the way they handled the fight, because it's all, it's all on Dune. Is it Dune or Doom? In front
Doom.
of
Doom.
Anorak's castle, but it's all the freaking avatars going at the same time, and just how they like swoop down into the battlefield and go in between some of the fights, and then underneath a walker, and then they flip back around. It's like they're in like the freaking Millennium Falcon, which they referenced in the movie, which was awesome. They didn't show it, but they reference it, and they did all this stuff. Some of the things they changed that make complete sense. They had the holy hand grenade.
Yeah.
Which was
I
really
like the Zemeckis cube, which takes them back in time because he did Back to the Future,
which was awesome. It was a great homage to because a lot of the stuff was referenced in for Holiday is all about 80s stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it was a nice homage, and Zemeckis cube was a Rubik's cube, and they took it back 60 seconds, and it was just kind of a nice little wink and nod. There's 2 things I want to talk about for sure before we get done with this. One is the second gate in the book is Monty Python's The Holy Grail, and you have to do all the lines, or you're actually a character in the movie in the book, right?
So you have to
So in the movie, you're in The Shining,
right?
So they open the door to the movie theater. They walk in, and as soon as they walk in, they're in the hall in The Shining, and
at the Overlook Hotel.
At the Overlook Hotel,
walking down the stairs into the.
And now I've seen The Shining once, and it's probably been 25 years ago. So I know enough of The Shining to know like what the scene was going on. But the 2 of us are like, oh my God, they're doing The Shining, and the way they handled The Shining, like the comedy that was in that scene and the horror that was in that scene, and like,
I kept watching. I've seen the movie a bunch, even though Stephen King doesn't like the movie,
right.
And I get it because it's completely different than the book, but I've still seen the movie a bunch.
Seems like a theme.
And that's the reason why it's even in there. But I kept looking to see if they were actually using scenes from the movie when they could. And I couldn't tell.
I couldn't tell either. There was a couple of things that happened that when we were talking to people afterwards, I'm like, did you see this? Did you see this? The tricycle in the background,
Yeah.
the twins.
Yeah.
They show the number 237. Like they make a point of showing all this like stuff, but
Yeah,
like
and
some of
the
it's
scene when H pulls the painting or the picture apart,
yeah,
that's actually in. It might be in the movie, but it's definitely in the book. It's a photo of everybody there on New Year's Eve before the caretaker goes crazy and kills everybody.
yeah.
It's like a photo of the wall or whatever.
Our one we were just talking about this in our non-spoiler review. Our one major, I would say, negative thing that we don't quite understand is the Sorento's. Okay, hold on. Sorento by Ben Mendelsohn is amazing.
Yes.
He is so good as a corporate sleazeball asshole.
Yes.
But his avatar as the jacked Superman with the glowing eyes is so. I want that as a pop. Actually, I want that as a hot toy.
Oh,
That
yeah.
when he has the battle armor suit on, because it looks like a suit, but it's all like battle armor and stuff. It's just
Yeah.
it's so. Everything that happens in the Oasis, I want all of that. I want all of the pops and all the hot toys and like the shirts and all that stuff. But his henchman, his real world hitman, hitwoman, whatever, enforcer. She just one complaint, and I don't really think it's a complaint. I think it's just more of a criticism. I don't understand her. I don't understand.
I didn't understand the point of having her. She's not in the book that I remember. And like her whole purpose was to go after them and then not get them.
Yeah.
And then go after them and then not get them.
Yeah.
And then go after them and then lose them. And it's like I
didn't understand her character. I could make the argument that she is the balls, like they took Sorrento and kind of cut him in half,
Yeah.
and made like Ben Mendelsohn the kind of the sleazy corporate dude, and then made her, because he's kind of that version in the book. He's both, right? He's very ruthless and very like, I will do everything. I will blow up the stacks with drones, and I will shoot anybody I have to win this contest. And in the movie, he's much more kind of weaselly and like conniving.
I don't
and
know.
stuff
I got
like that.
I got the feeling. I mean, I
And
got that because he did blow up the stack. So I got the feeling that he was.
I just think that was kind of a split.
When was it in the final battle? He like threw something or whatever and wiped out like a whole bunch of his own guys.
Oh yeah, well he had the catalyst too, and he takes
but
out
that was
all of the.
Takes out everybody.
Takes out everybody. The
That was
catalyst takes
dumb.
out every avatar on the planet.
Yeah.
And they do it, and in the book, the side mission ends up being Parsifal beating Pac-Man.
Yeah.
And he gets a coin, a quarter. And in the movie, they end up doing is the curator of the holiday headspace museum thingy, whatever, as this robot, and he loses a bet, and so he gives this coin to Parsifal, and he's like, I don't need it, you just keep it. He's like, no, keep it, it's for you.
Yeah.
Well, come to find out later on, Morrow is the one who is the curator of the holiday museum.
Yeah.
And I liked that use of Morrow. What I really wanted was the battle scene. He's the DJ Og is the DJ at the club.
Yeah.
And when IOI shows up to attack Parsifal and Artemis, he kind of like God powers everything.
Yeah.
And then keeps playing or whatever, and they were able to escape. And so they didn't do that. You can get Og's God powers in the movie, and this is one thing I like. It's super nitpicky, but I always liked Og because I thought he was like he's Holiday's best friend who had a falling out but still cared for him and still was making sure that everything works out, and he helps the whole group at the end. They all come to his place and stuff, and you don't get to meet him really until the end, and that's kind of why you hire Simon Pegg to really be in the movie for 3-4 minutes.
Oh, he was in it in all the little flashback scenes too. I
Yeah.
mean, he's in it as much as Halliday.
Yeah. And Mark Rylance, who plays Halliday, is Anorak, is so good as the super awkward.
Oh yeah.
He's so well. He does it so well done.
Yeah.
Like I said, everybody's really really good in it. Steven Spielberg nails this movie.
I will say that the end of when Halliday is in his room and he gives Parsifal the egg at the very end, that was a very Steven Spielberg scene.
Yeah.
That whole the kid in his
there,
room, and I felt very E.T., very was that one with the kid who the robot kid
AI.
It was very Spielberg feeling.
And that whole scene where he's looking like he misplaced the egg, it fell behind the desk, and he's
funny.
going through everything. And the question now for me is with him, at least with Halliday, is he an avatar or is it really him in the Oasis?
Right, and he doesn't answer.
And he doesn't answer, which is also a very Spielberg kind of.
Yeah.
You can kind of figure it out yourself. And so that was let's talk about the references for a second. T2, Firefly, Back to the Future, Doritos, the Doritos bags everywhere. The Millennium Falcon. I'm not the obvious ones, right? You saw a bunch of the ones that were in the trailer. The Firefly ship came in. The two of us were like, look at the Firefly ship. We're trying not to go crazy because all the critics were sitting behind us. There's the bike, the tricycle.
There's so much.
The Acura bike.
Oh yeah.
Iron Giant.
And they actually say, H says that's Acura's bike. And blah, 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 it starts,
they do the whole thing.
Blah 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 composite of.
God, there's so much that like we said, we have to sit down with all the references.
Yeah.
I will probably have a bunch more. Maybe our Stardust on Thursday after we get done. It's just to run down all the references we got, all the things in the background and everything.
Okay.
So overall score, we already talked about this in the non-spoiler review, but this is a spoiler review, so we're gonna do it again.
I am a 4.75 out of 5.
And you, one data. I was at I think I said 4.6.
You did.
Just to be contrarian. But I would go with 7.5 too. This is a tie upon one viewing with my other favorite movie of the year so far, which is Black Panther.
Yeah.
And Annihilation is probably maybe a step behind all of them, but the two of them. But these Black Panther and Ready Player One are on the same level for completely different reasons about why they're so good. There's some problems with the CGI in Black Panther, but the performances and what it means and everything is just but this is all the way around really, really, really well done.
Yeah, I'm very happy, that it could have gone very badly in a bunch of different ways, and I don't feel that it didn't. It was awesome.
Yeah, it worked out really well. So that's our spoiler review of Ready Player One. I hope you guys have watched the movie and got at this point. But what do you guys think of this movie? Please leave us a comment if you've seen the movie. If you hated it, tell us. If you loved it, tell us. If you got more references upon the first viewing, then tell us. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I'm sure we missed. And what do you think about how different it was from the book and how it actually ended up working for you? Also, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell so you can get all the notifications on stuff that we're doing. You can follow us on Facebook at the Pop Culture Cult. We're Pop Culture Cult 1 on Instagram, and we're at Pop_Cult 1 on Twitter. We're also on the Stardust app. Like we just said, we Stardust almost everything right now. If you go on Instagram, we have photos from the premiere. If you go to Stardust, you can see us do our instant review of the movie. Some maybe little girl giggling may have been happening. It was pretty funny. And so please follow us on all the social media things and share with your friends. Till the next time, good night now.